All right, I think we can get started.
Great.
Hi everyone, my name is Andrew. I work at Final Draft on the Studio Enterprise side, and very excited today to present Final Draft 12, the newest software that was released in April. And as I highlight the program today, I'm going to cover some new features, existing tools, and some features that are updated in 12. So as we walk through these, take some notes if you want, write down your questions. At any point, put your questions in the Q&A, and then at the end, I'll address all of them, or as many as I can. And about halfway point, I'll take a little mid-break, and we'll see if we can address one or two. Chris, this is such a great opportunity to present. So glad that the Inside Pitch gave us the opportunity to share the program today. So is there anything you wanted to say before I get started?
I just wanted to say thank you to Final Draft. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Shelley Malliott, who put this together. She's also a member of the Inside Pitch. And thank you to, of course, everybody at the Inside Pitch, Ramesh Santanam and Steve Enlow, and all of our members who are here today. I am going to sort of vanish into the ether. This is Andrew's show. He knows Final Draft inside and out. So thanks, everybody, for being here. And again, thank you, Final Draft.
Thank you, Chris. All right, so with that, I just wanted to give a brief breakdown of Final Draft. For those of you who have used it before, welcome back, and I'm excited to show you the new iteration of 12. For those who've never seen it before, or perhaps use another program, I'm excited to show you what Final Draft can offer. And so let's get started. So Final Draft, as you know, it basically all comes to budgeting, breakdown, scheduling, as well as writing and creativity. So as you know, the aces of a page are important in production and scheduling, but also in terms of keeping your material and your script in one place, as well as generating reports. All these tools are important for everyone from the writer's room all the way through producing. So, as you know, if your page count is off, your budget can be off and your schedule can be off. Final Draft has made itself the industry standard by creating those standard practices as procedures. And we pride ourselves on that. And I wanted to begin by showing Final Draft 12, which was released April 12th. And I'm going to begin by sharing my screen here. All right, you should be able to see my screen. So to begin, what I'm using is a sample shooting script that's built into the program. You'll notice that I'm using a Mac computer today for today's demonstration. If any differences are out there in Windows, for those of you who have Windows, I will let you know of any major differences. So to begin, you'll notice here the layout is very similar to 11, except the story map up here is now gone. This is now called the outline editor. The outline editor works in conjunction with the beat board. The beat board is also in 11. And we made this change, and this is a story planning tool. It can also be used for just keeping track of the flow of your story in general. So to begin, I just wanted to show you the different views. Some people prefer to split their screen. You can have two scripts side by side or the same script. You can work simultaneously on different portions of the script, right? You can have your beat board on one side here. You can swap panels. Some people prefer maybe to have their view of maybe their scenes, or maybe perhaps you want to use your index cards. You can unsplit your panels, of course, if you don't like to use that feature, or if you have a dual screen, you can choose to use that yourself. It's really up to you how you like to operate. Some people even like to use the split horizontal. It really just depends on what you prefer. So as I mentioned, the beat board here, let me split my screen again. So the beat board here, in essence, has been updated with new features from 11, and I'll go over those in just a moment. As some of you may know, the beat board acts as a digital whiteboard. It's capable of holding notes, ideas, script content, images, and you're free to organize this in any way you like. You can assign beats to the outline editor lanes up there on the top, and then those can be brought into the script. Beats can be created by either right-clicking or control-clicking, or if you can either do it from here, from a beat, or you can also create one from an image as well. So if you have an image you want to bring in, as you see here, I brought in this image of a forest. When you bring in an image, you can resize it within the box here. So if you're looking to either have a scalable, say you have some piece of art that you want your art department to work on, you can scale it inside the beat, and you can adjust it from there and maybe label it what you prefer. For now, I just decided to leave it like this. So the beats can be assigned to the outline editor lane in what we call the 1, 2, 3 workflow. So basically starting on the beat board, moving to your story, outline editor up here, and then to the script. This is just a term that we coined in that basically what you can do is when you create these beats here, you can either lasso them, and wherever your insertion point is on your script, you can send them to your script. So you'll see that it preserves it and puts it into this purple text here. And I'll explain why this is purple in a moment. So what this is doing, it's creating an outline. And this outline is collapsible. So if you wanted to, you can actually hide your outline in the script, and that'll preserve your page count. What this will allow you to do is if you have, say, a story arc or something that you want to see happen in the story, or it's a production-related element, you can actually have notes tucked in your script that'll be preserved. So if you need to say, oh, in this scene, this occurs, or maybe we need to see this element, when you print it like this and you see the outline, it will print both your text and the outline. But if you hide it, it'll preserve your page count and it'll print just as you had written it. So some of the updates to the beat board, now we have connector lines. So connector lines will allow you to create a story flow if you wish, or you can use it in a variety of different ways. You'll notice that the lines are locked in with wherever they are assigned to, and you can either drag beats to one another in a free-flowing fashion, so you can actually line them up. And these can also be disconnected too. So if you decide later you don't want those connected, you can change the color of the assignment too. So if you want to assign those two together, you can choose, say you're following a story arc, you can have those, and then you can assign that to be connect with an arrow. You can connect with a line, you can connect with a double arrow. This can also show editing. So if you're working on a sequence, maybe an action scene, you can actually have a sketch laid out, and it can actually show you maybe how the editor needs to go between scenes, or you can just use this as a story planning tool. That's what it was intended for, but there's a variety of ways to use this. All these beats here are customizable, so you can color these in any color, you can change them. And the way this works with a conjunction with the outline editor lanes is you'll notice as I'm scrolling here, there's already a few in here. So if you hover over and click on the script portion, you'll see the slug line and the description of what's occurring at that moment. So you can follow along, but you can also have your beats in your outline editor as well. So if you hover and click, you can also bring images into these as well. So if you have an image here, as I mentioned, I have a forest, right? If I bring that up here to the top, I can actually have that inside here. So if you're working on a story or a sequence and you want to show that visually as someone's reading, all they have to do is be reading, and they can click along through it. And this is also expandable. So you can zoom way out or you can zoom in. So it's scalable and it tracks wherever your previous cursor point was. So we call it the 1, 2, 3 workflow because you can bring these manually up to the outline editor lane, and then from there, there's a button right here that will send the entire outline editor to your script, wherever the insertion point may be. So there's ways in which that you can actually use this to your advantage if you want to just do all the work on the beat board first, and then without having to retype everything, all you have to do is click this button as long as it's programmed up here, and they'll send it straight to your script. As you also know, that the beat board can also preserve script content back and forth. So if you have a piece that you'd like to see in your script maybe appear later, you can drag this from the script to the beat board and it'll preserve it as you wrote it. And of course, you can delete it from here. And if you decide later that's a piece that you'd like to see, you can actually return that back to your script and it'll go back to the way that you wrote it. And of course, if you have the outline editor on, you might want to hide that just because it'll maybe be distracting to you, or maybe it's not how you like to view your script. So content moves back and forth between the beat board and the script. And So in essence, this will allow you to create whatever flow you like. Beats can also be sorted. So if you want to create a category, this writer here decided that they wanted to create a boneyard. So they have a little section over here for maybe perhaps story elements they want to see later. This is just a very simple explanation for an idea that you can run with. But sorting beats here so you can collapse them. You can cascade them. And they all will follow the same patterns that you've created for those beatboard connector lines. So if you change them around and you decide you want to create a more linear look, those beats will still follow the same lines and patterns that you've created for yourself. So it can get very, very detailed, and the beatboard can actually be printed and exported. So if you wanted to, you could put this into a production binder, or it can be as large as a wall. I just zoomed out the furthest it can go, and you can see this can be a poster in a production room, or maybe perhaps you want to start planning some series events, or maybe you want to see what happens in an episode. And you can also lock these to grid. So if you wanted to create, say this is a scene heading, you can create all the elements that'll happen under that scene. The beatboard works in collaboration mode as well. So if you're working with a producer or a writer around the world that you need to work on either the budget or the script or vice versa, you can use the collaboration mode for the beatboard as well as the script simultaneously. And you can also edit and search and find and replace now on the beatboard as well. So if you're looking for a piece of information, you can find that in the beatboard. So instead of having to visually look around, it'll tell you exactly where that character might be. So you're not hunting and trying to just find that one instance of that moment that you can't remember where you put it. So that's an exciting feature I wanted to mention. And so with that, I kind of wanted to transition into a little more detailed about the outline editor lane up here. So the outline editor lane, you can adjust the target script length for whatever you might be working on. Right now, the script is short, but if you wanted to, you could expand it. And you'll notice if I do that, it'll move the page count or the estimated goal. And I can actually zoom in, see the entire thing, or I can zoom in, right? So you have the ability to work and how you'd like to see this. I already mentioned the send to script feature, but you can change colors of your beats in here as well instead of having to go to the beatboard. So let's say, for instance, you're working on your script and you don't want to see the beatboard anymore. Beatboard's good, you've got it all done. All your beats are in the outline editor up here. What you can do is you can actually change color from here as well. So if you need to change a story arc, or maybe perhaps you see an element that you want to remove, it's easy to do so from here. And you can also create new beats from here as well. So you don't even have to be on the beatboard to do that. You can just simply create a beat, assign it a color, put in your information, and assign it to whomever. And it'll give you the approximate page goal of where you put it. So there's a variety of ways to use this tool. And so this also can change target script length from here as well. So mentioning the outline editor lane, it is a new feature, and there are ways though, if you want a simplified view of final drafts, you don't want to use the beatboard, you don't want to use the outline editor lanes, we understand it, we get it, we hear you. We made it so that you can actually hide these now. So you can hide your outline editor, you can hide your ruler if you wanted to, you can hide your script notes. You basically can create a very, very simple look for final draft using those tools. But I'm actually going to show the ruler because I like that, and I'm going to show my outline editor lane. One of the newest features is called focus mode. So focus mode does exactly what I just did, except without having to change all those features. Down here in the bottom right, there's a little reticle icon, and this is focus mode. Focus mode, you click it, and it'll bring the session to a full screen view of final draft, removing all the icons, all the features that are there, but they're still available. All you have to do is go to the top, and they'll be brought down on Mac. On PC, if you use this feature, the banner will still be at the top. Your screen will be maximized to its potential, but you'll still have the tabs up here at the top. On Mac, it completely disappears. And you can also enter focus mode without being in full screen. So if you wanted to, you could, you can enter this and then you can enter focus mode once more. You'll notice it's just a little bit different. Right. So there's a variety of ways in which that you could use this for your benefit. This also works in night mode too. So if you want to be able to have a distraction-free writing session at night and your eyes are exhausted, this is a great way to invert your colors and prevent some eye strain. The night mode feature also works on the beatboard. So if you're working at night and all those colors are inverted, this is a really eye-friendly way, and I'm a big advocate for that, especially at nighttime writing for those of us who can only really get our work done in the evenings. Let me turn off night mode and focus mode. You can also turn off night mode and focus mode by going to the View tab here. So down on the bottom, you have full screen, focus mode, and night mode all at the bottom here. You can also zoom in if you prefer from here. You can also zoom on the outline editor lanes. You can also, of course, zoom on the bottom right. So there's a variety of ways to use these tools. One of the newest features I'd like to get into now is track changes. It's actually a very exciting tool that we've been hearing about for a long time, and I'm finally excited to show you and present it to you today. So this feature allows you to track changes between writers, producers, whoever you may assign these changes to. So I'm actually going to show my script notes. And so the track changes button is here on the top right, as same on PC as well. To initiate it, you can either click the arrow or you can just click the icon itself. So when you turn on tracking, a little green light will come on here. And tracking works in collaboration mode as well, but you have to have it on before you initiate a collaboration session. That's just the stipulation. So if you're working on a script and you want to see who made changes and what in real time, based upon my color, I can, you'll see I'm making changes here. And so when you make changes, you'll see that this is a color I've assigned myself. Every user in Final Draft 12 assigns themselves a color, if you'd like. And you go to Preferences here. In the Preferences menu, you see I put my name, and I can choose whatever color. You can also choose a custom color. So if you have a preferred way of organizing, and you can also bring in custom colors as well. So I just like that color for my preference. And so when you make a change, if you hover over it, you'll notice it'll say Andrew did what, and what I did, and at what time, and I can accept or reject it. Now this can work, as I mentioned, in collaboration mode. So if you're working with another writer, if I finish this note or I make this change, another writer can come back in and deny it. They can reject it. And this is a helpful feature in case there's a last minute change or something that needs to be seen. So I'm going to accept this change. Boom, it's gone. And of this one here, let's say I don't really want this. You can reject it. So these changes here, as you can see, if there's multiple changes, so if I make layered changes or if I add new content inside of a change, forgive my misspellings, you'll notice that there are multiple in that section here, depending on whatever I'm hovering over. So if I'm hovering over that one, it'll be, you can actually move through them by arrowing through. So this is a very helpful tool in that way. This also works in collaboration mode, as I mentioned, but revisions mode as well. So, but this tool has been one of the features that we have been hearing about for a long time, because between revisions, you don't know who made a change other than that there's an asterisk or a symbol that you've assigned it next to. You don't know who did it, other than maybe if they name the file with their name. So this is really helpful for that script coordinator or writer's room assistant or whoever might be keeping track of the material to know, okay, I see who made the change, or maybe there's changes pending. And so this is really helpful. If you're working in collaboration mode with someone and they leave and you want to accept or reject all changes, you can do that. If you end a collaboration mode and you're in tracking changes, it'll ask you, once you end your collaboration session, it'll say, would you like to accept or reject all changes? Just as a fail-safe to remind you that there are changes that need to be looked at. So in this case, I'm just going to accept all the changes. And there we go. So that's how that works. And that's a very helpful feature. Just to turn it off, just revert that back. And if you turn it off without accepting or rejecting, as I mentioned, it will just prompt you like that. Okay. So that's track changes. And I briefly covered collaboration mode. And script notes also now have been updated, which I wanted to show you here. You'll see that these script note flags, if you click on it, it's been reskinned here. So you'll see that not only can you see who wrote it, what time they wrote it at, you can assign them a title. So if you have a new person coming in, say your co-EP needs to make a note, you can assign them a color. And then from there, the very first person who makes the note is going to be the person that is the color of that flag. But you can have multiple notes on the same section. So if you have that flag there, you can click through and see who made those notes on that same section. Perhaps someone disagrees, and so they put their note in there, and you'll know exactly who said it and when. So this is a very helpful tool. We retooled this and with the feedback of many other writers and collaborators. As I mentioned, any changes made to the script, beatboard, outline editor, script notes are all available over collaboration mode. So if you are working on script notes with someone, they can also work on script notes as well. The only stipulation is that the script note has to be completed before someone else can delete it or work on it. Same goes for track changes. You can't adjust someone's current change while they're working on it. Collaboration sessions, I should just mention, when you start a room up here, for those who may have never used it, this uses a peer-to-peer connection. There is no server. Your script is not stored on any device or computer somewhere. This is literally peer-to-peer. It uses an AWS service, so just keystrokes are just transferred between you and the other writer. And it shares, so if I host a room, say if I want to share this script with someone, I'll click OK. And you both must be on Final Draft 12 to do this. So I'll be assigned a session ID. And the session ID, you would just text this, email this, call this to someone, and then they can join as well. You can chat in here. And they can chat with you. So let's say if someone is working on the script, you'll notice that my cursor, I'm just going to do this. You'll notice my cursor color here is red. That's because that's the color I've been assigned to. So if anyone else is in here, they'll be assigned a random color. When someone leaves the session, let's say it's lunchtime and you're the last person to work, if everyone leaves and comes back, you can refresh the script for them. So that way it'll refresh it for all the collaborators and all the people who are participating without having them to upload a new file. So I'll just say hit refresh, and then everyone will get the brand new version pushed to their computer without having to share files back and forth. Where did that email go, and so forth. And if you end a session, it'll of course ask you if you'd like to. And so that's the collaboration kind of in a nutshell. So briefly, I know I covered quite a bit in a short amount of time. So I just wanted to look at the Q&A real fast, see if anyone has kind of a quick question about any of this I've just covered, including the beatboard, collaboration mode. Let me just take a quick look and see. Good question, Ruby. Final Draft 11 and 12 cannot collaborate with another. You have to be on the same version. The reason we do this is because we don't want someone to lose, say, a script note that maybe was made in 12. So since the script notes are different now, the script notes won't appear the same for someone in 11. That is a great question. So you must be on the same version of Final Draft to collaborate. So if you're on 11, the other person must be on 11. And this is just for your own sake and sanity. So that way, if you create a note or something, it's not lost to the other person. Of course, Final Draft files are openable in both 9, 10, 11, 12, but you'll be prompted if you create, say, a file in 12 and you open it in 10. It'll tell you this file has been created in a newer version. We do that because, again, we've created this new version of script notes, for instance, and so this information, the metadata like date, time, all that will be lost. So you won't actually have that. So you'll have to be on the same version. Bruce, that is a great question. Right now, the beatboard works independently of the script. So you have to move, it's like a digital whiteboard. So that is a great suggestion if you'd like to see those contents be updated in real time. However, your scene summary will be something that you can use in real time. So if you were working, say, on your script and you have, let's say you have your summary index cards here, right? So you can move these around and this will actually work in conjunction with your script. So if you write your script and you have this, in order to move a scene, all you have to do is drag them around and that'll actually do that in real time. So this feature is something that I think could help you in your writing experience because say you want this scene to be earlier, instead of having to copy paste it, all you have to do is drag it and it'll actually update that in your script as well. But the beatboard is free flowing. It is something that you don't even have to use, but it's something that a lot of writers have been looking forward to using, especially for story arcs and character arcs. Very good. All right. Well, those were good questions, and I'm going to continue on here. All right. So let me unsplit my screen here. Let's go back to the script view. Okay, so Final Draft comes with a number of pre-built templates, and 12 has a number of new ones. So if you want to use a template, we have a number of them here. You go from File, New from Template, and the screen will open for you, and you'll see that we have educational templates. Some of these follow writers or directors or creators, for instance, Blake Snyder's Save the Cat, Michael Hagg's 6-stage structure. So if you open these, there's a template that you're free to use. It has all the material from his book and his method of teaching. So you can use these and they're free for you once you have the program. And we also offer a 60-day trial of Final Draft. So if you want to get started and just give it a try, you're more than welcome to. We have that at our website and you can start playing around with the program. So these templates, as I mentioned, they're in the program. So you can take them, copy them, use them however you like. We also have script templates in here as well, standard screenplay templates, as well as other stage play templates. We have some TV templates, but on our website, we actually have a lot more. So if you go to our website, and I'll bring this up in a moment, once that loads, I'll show you. Now, templates, you can use these in a variety of ways, and you can apply them to your script as well. So let's say you want to turn this screenplay into a stage play. So there's a way to do that. You would just go to Format, and you go to your Elements setting. So this element setting, it's kind of like the brain of the program. Your element settings will allow you to change the font of everything in the script, from your slug lines to your action to character lines and so forth. So if you have, let me just scroll down here a moment. So if you wanted to see your scene headings to be a different color, you would just hit this tab here, go to Font. You can set your font to be whatever color you like. Let's say you want it to be bright red. And let's just say you wanted it to be bold. Just hit OK. And all the instances of the scene headings will revert to that. So this is I call it the brain of the program, but it also is something that you can apply templates to as well. So as I mentioned, if I wanted to turn this into a stage play, I would just go to apply a template. Of course, I can bring in my own, but I'm going to go to stage play and hit OK. And you'll see that screenplay is now a perfectly formatted stage play in the format that the stage play would be. And you'll see that the outline is here, so I can still, of course, I can hide it. And if you wanted to, you could revert this back simply just by going back to elements and then back to whatever stage play screenplay you might have been using. So it's a very fast and easy way for you to, and mileage may vary. There might be a few things that you might need to adjust depending on how the previous script was formatted. Speaking of files, Final Draft 12 now has PDF import. So if you have a file that you are unable to open and it's a PDF that is a digital file, not a PDF hard copy scan from a photocopier, but one that is actually text that you just can't open anymore, Final Draft can bring it in for you. So all you'll have to do is go, open. You can, I'm just going to use this test PDF import. This is a PDF import file I just used. And so you click OK. You might just take a moment and 1, 2, 3, it'll open up a PDF file that you can use and you can edit and take and run with. You can also import text documents as well. So if you have a older script that is from a different program, say, you can actually import that as well. So I just wanted to mention the PDF import is a very exciting feature. Moving on, I wanted to discuss alternate text. So alternate text, some of you may have used, some of you may not be familiar with it. So I'm actually going to show you, so you can hide or show your alternate text from here. You can also hide it from here as well. So you have your choice. I like to just use the tab here. Let's click Show Alts. So when you do that, wherever your insertion point is, you'll notice there's a plus button. What this will allow you to do is create alternate lines of dialogue. So you say, and you hit Enter, and you'll see that if I move away from it, you'll say the number of lines that there are there. And if you click on this, you can actually choose between the two. So if you have a joke or something that maybe perhaps you want to just tuck away, you can actually still have that there without having to delete it. And if you want to hide the alts, it'll just disappear. So it's kind of secretly tucked in there. And if you wanted to, you can add as many as you want. You can add 4, 5, 6 lines. And if you don't have anything, it'll be blank. Moving on, dual dialogue is a feature that still now you must use the dual dialogue feature. It does work over collaboration mode, however. So if you were hoping to use that, you can actually dual those moments if you wished. And I actually wanted to show you the way in which you can actually customize your toolbar, since I'm talking about all these tools here. So on Mac, this is the toolbar customization menu. You'll notice there's a standard one down here. This standard toolbar is the one that is standard in the program, but you can drag any of the icons you want to the top. So if you want to use this, or maybe you like to use this tool, or you want to use dual dialogue, you can bring all those in. And if you don't find that this is working for you on Mac, all you have to do is drag this entire toolbar up to the top and drag it here, and it'll revert it to back how you like. On PC, you can choose between the new ribbon mode or the classic mode. So the ribbon mode mimics the look of Mac, but you can't customize your toolbar like this. You can only choose between the two. So as I mentioned, for dual dialogue, if you'd like to dual it, you just highlight that section, dual it, and this also works with revisions mode as well, but you must have revisions mode on first before you do any changes like that. So it's a bit of plug and play depending on how you like to, once you dual something, it's kind of locked in there. It's just the way the program is built, but it does work in revisions mode. So if you have a revision, you can actually, and collaboration mode, right? So moving on to another advanced production feature is tagging. Tagging is available under the production tab here, and I'm going to turn on tags mode now. So you see I turned it on, and there's a lot of different colors and a lot of different text in here. And what this is that Final Draft allows you to identify any word, phrase, prop, wardrobe item, set feature, character, feature, or animal, or anything that really is identifiable, right? So even a bloody scratch, you can identify that this will be part of either say a character or perhaps a thin patch of mud on someone's shoe or pants or something. This can actually be assigned to different departments. And I wanted to show you where all these land. And so for instance, if I wanted to say mud here, I can highlight that word and I can choose where I might like that to be. So if say makeup and hair probably is going to be assigned to that. So I would just click, okay, I'll click tag. And then in that scene, it'll bring up the navigator. So I'm glad it actually did because I wanted to show you this next. The navigator is available either through the top tab or through the tab here on the right. Your navigator has 4 main tabs here. So there's the scenes tab, script notes, characters, and your tags. Right? So your scenes are going to give you an overview. If you click on those scenes, it'll tell you who's in it, who speaks, who doesn't speak, and all the details in here that you might want to fit in. And you can also adjust these as well. So if you want to hide some of these elements, you can. With your script notes, you'll, of course, in the navigator, you can actually see an overview of your script notes and when they were created. You can sort them by color if you want to see all the notes created by one person in particular. You can adjust them here as well. And so since I was on, I'm going to skip characters tab for now. I'm going to stay on tags. So you'll see here on the left side on the bottom, there's the number of pre-built standard categories. And these standard categories work with production budgeting and scheduling software. So if you're tagging your script for production breakdown, all these tags are standard. So if you export this into one of those programs, it'll understand what those are and automatically move those to those categories. So for instance, if you wanted to create, say, a new category, I'm just going to say sound effects. And let's say you want your Foley department to really know that that's an important moment. You might want to color it something very dramatic. And then that way, it's say if you have a sound or something, let's just choose breath. Maybe the breath is loud. Right, so you can tag that. And then that moment that will be tagged and as a sound effect. So all these tags, what they do is they are generating a report that you can eventually run. And so these reports, and I'll show you how. So you go to Tools, and you go to Reports, and there's a number of different reports here. The first one I'm going to show you is Scene Report. So Scene Report, you can capture your overview of your script, including tags. So I'm going to run it. And now depending on how many tags you have, it can take a moment to generate, but here we go, take a look. So we have the report here. I'm gonna zoom in, and you'll see it'll tell you the length of the scene, who's in it, the number of tags that you might include. And so this is a really fast way for you to generate a report for your production team to know, hey, okay, on day 1, we're gonna have, say if you wanted to end your day here, you can just end day 1. And then this is a text document, so you can copy paste and move this around if you wish. But this is a great way to create an overview of your script without having someone to read the entire thing. So wardrobe department goes, okay, I know exactly what day 1's going to look like. I know what day 2 is going to look like. And this is exportable as well as savable. Another report, and I know moving through these pretty quickly, but these are fun to play around with because they do give you a different view of every sort of aspect of your script. For instance, you can create a location report. Say if you wanted to do it in script order, it'll give you exactly all those locations. If you wanted to, say, run a tags report and you wanted to know by scene, as I mentioned, if you have a number of tags, it may take a moment to generate that report, but it will be a detailed, as you can see here, breakdown. Let me zoom in a little. So it's a bit more detailed in its own way. It doesn't have the page count, but it's something that you can just hand off to a crew member, and then they'll go, okay, we know what to do, in this moment today. So another report I wanted to mention here is your statistics report. So if you wanted to include, say, profanity statistics or character statistics, you can do that. And it kind of gives you a snapshot view of your script. Now, mind you, all this information is only brought into this report based upon what is written. So if you have nothing, it's not going to have anything, but it does give you quite a bit of information about who they speak with the most and how many percentages and times. So this is a way for either your production team or your writing team to know, hey, maybe this character isn't needed, or maybe perhaps we can roll these two traits into one, or maybe perhaps this scene isn't needed. I mean, you'll notice here Mossy has a number of scenes that maybe we can combine into one. Maybe a location isn't needed. Maybe you could do a day for night. So there's a way in which to get an overview of your script without having to read the whole thing. I'm going to turn off tags mode here. And I'm actually glad I briefly was able to show you that. Next, I'm going to just briefly cover revisions mode. So revisions mode has been reskinned. So if it's under, as you notice, we basically in the first portion of this session covered all these tabs here, from file, edit, view, format, insert, and document. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with these as well, including your title page, and you can create custom macros. Of course, if you have any questions about these features, we have a lot of resources available on our YouTube channel, as well as our blog, and also our knowledge database. And of course, you can also always email me if you have any questions, or our sales team or support team, and I'm always happy to help. But now at the end here, as we get to our final quarter of the hour, I'm going to cover the revisions mode here. And I'm going to open it. You'll notice that on Mac as well as PC, this has been retooled. So in order to turn revisions mode on, you just click the check mark here, and that will turn revisions mode on, right? So if you're working on the script and I make a change here, well, I'm just making these changes. You can also choose, if you wish, to have your page colors show. I don't prefer that, but some people do. So if you're working on this revision here, and then let's say you go to the next revision, in order to go to it, you just double click on it and click OK. And then it'll go to that revision. And so that way you can get a full rainbow of a script, or perhaps if you're looking to do the next full color draft, you can see those pages. And you can also print these pages with those colors as well. So if you're looking to, you can do a print preview. You can look at it this way. You can also watermark, as you see here. But when you do go to print, you can choose to have your revisions in color. You can choose to have your revisions in text in color. This was a feature that we had heard that it was difficult to move back and forth, so we added it here in the print menu. You can also choose character size. So that's a fun little new feature here. You can also export. You can also send to your mail or your iCloud drive, however you prefer. And so, yeah, revisions mode here, if it's on, it's check marked. If it's off, that's it. The cog here is how you edit your revision sets. So if you want to edit this cherry set, you can change the name of it, the date of it, and the style of it, and the mark as well. You can also move through revision sets by doing this, or double clicking. It's up to you. You can choose how you like to see your text and marks, and you can also add new ones. So if you need to have, as many as you want. I think the next feature, the next portion I wanted to mention is backing up your script. So not only can you export your script in your beat board here, but you can also change the way in which Final Draft saves your content, which I wanted to cover here. So if you go to Preferences, this is the Preferences tab I showed you earlier. You can change your name and color, of course. You can do day, night mode, but your autosave backup features are something that every writer, I'm sure, appreciates. So, for instance, I had it off for now, but you might want to be extra cautious at 3 minutes, and you can have it ask you or not. And you can also choose where you want your backup folder to be. So if you don't want the backup folder to be the standard, you can choose a new folder. Say if you want it to be in your cloud, or maybe perhaps a location, maybe a common server, a Basecamp server or wherever it might be. And so that's how you keep track of your script. Let's see, briefly here, I also wanted to mention some other tools. We have a format and a format assistant tool, which is very helpful. So if you bring in a script that has some reformatting issues, you can hit this reformat button, and this has also been retooled too. So as you go through, you can click through your script and you can just make changes by hitting the numbers on your keyboard. So if you have to really just shoot through a script and you want, oh, this isn't supposed to be a character, this is supposed to be an action line, or this is dialogue, this is supposed to be a scene description, you can do it manually this way. Additionally, we also have a format assistant. The format assistant is much like a word processing assistant, except that it'll tell you rule violations that you may not want to change. If you have a character that speaks in a specific way, or perhaps has a certain way, so you'll see here that there's too much space, it'll fix it for you. Now, mind you, I have a lot of typos in here. So typos, of course, in spelling will be brought out, as well as spelling in capitalizations as well. That's a new change as well. So I've covered quite a bit of material today, and I know that Final Draft 12 has a lot more to offer. So if you ever have any suggestions or feedback about the program, we do have a feedback button here. And if you click this, it'll bring you to our webpage where you can submit your ideas, or perhaps if you'd like to see a feature that you really want to in a future iteration of Final Draft, we're always happy to hear about that. As I mentioned, we have a number of resources available to you, and as well as our knowledge database. So anytime, I'm happy to answer questions, and I think this would be a great time to open up to the Q&A, and I'm going to take a look and see what questions you might have. What version would you consider the classic Final Draft? That is a good question. The most current one is because we're always looking to the future, and we're always looking to see what writers and collaboration potential we have, especially working remotely. Kathy, that is a great question. If you're looking to upgrade, head over to our website, take a look. You'll be able to find your answer there. Ruby asks, can you print your templates? And can you also split screen the templates with the script pages? Yes. So if you wanted to, you could have a template on one side, you could have a script page on the other. Also, I didn't cover this, but you can also combine scripts too. So if you're looking to move a bunch of different scripts together, you have to, I have to save this first, of course, but you can bring different scripts together. So that way, if you have, say, 3 or 4 episodes, you just want to combine it into one file, you can do that. That is a great question. The question is, when is the Beatboard and the other features going to be brought over to the iPad app? The iPad app, as many of you might know, is a reduced feature version of Final Draft only because of its capability to be mobile. If we were able to bring in the Beatboard, as you know, it can hold so much content that a cell phone or an iPad device might not be the tool to use. But however, feel free to submit that to our feedback. We always would love to hear that, and perhaps we could maybe make that in a future iteration for you. But for those of you that don't know, the Final Draft app is available for your mobile devices, and it's just a separate little program, but it does work in conjunction with your desktop software. So if you're working remotely at Basecamp, you can work on your script and then upload it to your cloud. Now, depending on how you have your script file stored is how you're going to access it at your home base. So you need to have some sort of server. Final Draft does not store your scripts anywhere. We leave it to you to decide how you want to keep your content. Bruce, that is a great question. Bruce says that sometimes the Beatboard gets cut off because it's too wide if you print. You may want to take a look at your scaling, but however, I don't know what device you are using. If you would like, feel free to reach out to our technicians and let them know. You can reach out to our support at Final Draft. team, there's a form available on our website that can direct you straight to them. Let them know, and perhaps we can help you with that. I just don't know, without having been able to see it, what you might be experiencing, but hopefully they can help you with that. Kirsten asked a great question. Yes, there are voices to read your script out loud. You can do that. You can assign different voices. Let me show you. So speech control and assigning voices, right? So if you want to assign voices to your characters, you can have a readback session. And this uses the computer's internal voice commands. So this is something that it kind of piggybacks on Macs or PCs, and you can use that to assign different character names. Perhaps if you wanted to hear what these voices sounded like, you can use that. You can also adjust the pitch and the speed. So you can really match the way in which you want to see maybe a character, or just at least hear your script. And you can also do speech control, and you can do read along as well. So you can hit play and it'll use, I don't know if you, I'm not sure if you can hear this. I don't know if I optimized this. I don't know if I optimized this for you to hear it, but I can hear this on my end. Lisa asked a good question. Are there ways to use accent marks in foreign language characters? Yes. So in order to do this, you have to set your computer keyboard settings to that language. So if you're working in a specific language, we have a number of articles available on our website that can help you with that. It's Mac and PC are just a little different. All you have to do is adjust that on your computer settings, assign your keyboard to be that language, and then when you type in Final Draft, you'll be able to use those that specific language. We have a number of languages that you can use in Final Draft. There are a few that, especially when symbols, you may want to take a look at our knowledge database. We have an article. If you go to Google and you type in Final Draft knowledge database, it's called finaldraft.kb. Forgive me, I forgot the web link, but if you Google Final Draft knowledge database and you look up foreign language characters, there's a list of characters and languages that you can use with Final Draft. There are quite a few, and we do have that published so that you can reference that if you need to. But again, it's your computer settings. So if you're writing in, say Romanian, you can use that, or if say Spanish or any other language, take a look and you might be surprised.
Andrew, there are a couple of questions in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, very good, Chris. I was about to take a look there.
Yeah, I figured.
Let's see here. Yvonne asks, is there an industry formatting tool for things like a character texting or mini movie animation inserts into a scene? I think, and forgive me for misspeaking, but I don't know if you're talking about emojis and symbols, or if you're talking about perhaps an image in a script. Of course, you can bring an image or an emoji image into the script. That's something that you can do now. This emojis and symbols feature on Mac does not work. You need to actually bring in your image. The reason this is here is because this uses the standard Mac formatting, and that's just a standard category that's built in. But in order to bring in an image, just go here, bring in your image, you can resize it, you can put it into your script as well as your title page as well. So I hope that helps answer that question. If that didn't answer your question, I apologize, but I'm happy to address it. And I'll give you my email at the end of the session and we can chat more. Mark, that is a great question. Mark asks if there's any way to import other screenwriting scripts into Final Draft. The way to do that is you want to export your scripts to a text file or a rich text file and then bring it into Final Draft. What that'll do is it'll strip all that coding from whatever other program you might have been using, bring in a fresh copy to Final Draft, and when you do that and you import it, it'll ask you, would you like to create this as a text document or a script? And if you do that, you can import any text document or a rich text document from other softwares into Final Draft. Maria asks a very good question.
It's a very long question, and this is her trademark. Hello, Maria.
Oh, I'm happy to answer it. In fact,
Great.
Actually, I just covered that in essence. So yes, from Microsoft Word, you would have to export that document as a text file or a rich text file. And if you save that, so if you're working in Word and you save that as a rich text or a TXT, save it, open it in Final Draft, and it'll import that. You can choose to be a script. So yes, it can do that. And thank you. We are very excited about 12 as well. So if there's not any more questions, my email, if anyone would like it, is Andrew, ANDREW, R as in Robert, at finaldraft.com. Feel free to shoot me a message and I'll do my best to get back to you when I can. Again, if you have any questions about our program, our support team and our tech team, of course, are available to you. Anna-Mia asks a great question. We have a 60-day free trial of Final Draft at our website. You can sign up right now. All it takes is your name and your email. When you sign up, no credit card, nothing like that. It's a full version as you just saw today. And that version is free for you for 60 days. After 60 days, it turns into a reader mode. So basically you would only be able to read scripts, maybe work on something, but you can't print, you can't export. And so feel free to give it a try. Thanks, Tiffany. You're very welcome. Glad to do it.
Andrew, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Chris, this has been a pleasure. It seems like everyone is wrapped up, and I'm really glad to have the opportunity to present today. And I hope you all have a great rest of the week. If there aren't any more questions here, I wish you all a great rest of the evening.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in the group.
Take care.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
so much.